I'm gonna make sure we have a lot of time to talk about your personal comics. I have a lot of Stephen questions, but it's the last one I'll ask now. Which is, I noticed, paying attention, speaking of music, that a lot of the characters are played by famous musicians. We have Amy Mann, Nicki Minaj, Patti LuPone. And I dawned on me this morning that if you put a famous musician in a show that has a lot of music, that might imply that they might sing later on the show. Is there any of the people I've mentioned who might be singing later on the show, or can you not share that?
Yes. One of the people, but
I'm guessing now what's happening.
yes, that's always a dream, and I think the pressure keeps mounting. People are so good, and I'll try and write things that are way outside of my range. Like I'll write things for Dee Dee, and I'll go way up, and I can't do it. Like I'll do my best, and I'll record it, and then when she does it, I'm like, okay, good, that's what it's supposed to be. Actually, you know who is an incredible singer that I just wrote something for? It's AJ, who plays the Bonnie.
Oh, really?
It's an amazing singer.
Oh, cool. That's so cool. That's pretty cool. And also, I was going to say, my sister-in-law is a Korean American actress, and I noticed looking through the cast list, that finding who the real people are behind a lot of the voices, that like a majority of the characters are voiced by women of color, and I wonder, which is an awesome. And I just want to ask you. There's a lot of characters who are depicting diversity in many different ways on the show. How important is it to have actual diverse people behind the show, either in the cast or on the crew? Is that important as well?
It's hugely important. And I think not even, I know you're speaking specifically racially, but also just I think a diversity of experience in general is so important, because that's how all interesting things happen, like creatively. Like if you have, I mean, that's like, what is American culture? What is anything? You have to have, like, if you bring people together, I think also on the team, like we're coming from radically different places, in terms of what we like about cartoons, and like trying to find not just a middle ground between what we all like, but actually preserving the things that we all like, and having them coexist in the show, so that we can, we can have like Patti LuPone and Tom Sharpling like in the same show. Dee Dee is coming from being in Miss Saigon. Michaela was coming from being on Barney. That's also part of what's super important to me, is that we're not all, we didn't all start doing this for the same reasons, but I'm interested in everyone's reasons, and I get to learn a lot about people who want things for different reasons than I do.
That's fascinating. So we put up now some pages from some of your early comics that you scanned for me. Some of you may have seen some of these online. I want to talk first about this comic, Don't Cry For Me, I'm Already Dead. Well, when did you make this comic?
I think it was 2009, 2008.
Okay.
It was between my third and my fourth year of college before I made that SBA.
I love this comic. We were talking over email beforehand, and you referenced something I hadn't thought about since college, which was the philosopher Roland Barthes. And you mentioned his concept of the image repertoire. It's a series of images that someone associates with their lover or shared visual experiences. And you talked about how it's related to comics. And I think in this comic, these two characters relate to each other through Simpsons quotes.
Yes.
And so for folks who haven't seen it, there's an interesting relationship between these friends, and then something tragic happens, and Simpsons as a shared experience, as part of their image repertoire between each other, becomes a potent part of it. I wanted to show you a comic that's by a cartoonist, an up-and-coming cartoonist who's only 19 years old, that I really like, named Tilly Walden. I don't know if Rebecca had seen this before today, but for folks who haven't seen this, this is a comic about two young characters interacting with your show. I don't want to make you But can you talk a little bit more about Don't Cry For Me, I'm Already Dead, and image repertoire, and then also perhaps reflect on the fact that now your own work is becoming part of other people's image repertoire?
It's very overwhelming. I think, I mean, I had the experience as a humongo comic nerd of falling in love with comics and the people who made them, and cartoons and the people who made them, and feeling like it was a really powerful thing, but also understanding in the back of my brain that no, it's stupid, because it's just cartoons, and everyone would roll your eyes at the idea that what you're feeling is like this powerful love for this thing or this person that you don't even know. When I heard this idea of a, I think, the Simpsons comic, if you haven't seen it, which it's not many people have read it, there's actually only 30 hard copies that exist. I scanned this out, the only one I have left. The idea is that these brothers quote The Simpsons all the time, and then one of them gets in a car accident and has severe sort of frontal brain damage, but he can still quote The Simpsons, so their interactions have not actually changed that much, because the other one visits him in the hospital and realizes they can still talk through Simpsons quotes. And to me, that kind of stuff is interesting because it was through comics and cartoons that I made so many of my friendships. It had so much to do with my relationship with my brother, and I could not sort of ignore the importance of that, or really write it off, even though I knew I was supposed to. I knew it was supposed to be sort of ridiculous that these things are what mattered so much to me. When I heard about this concept of the image and the image repertoire, this idea that when you fall in love with someone, you don't actually fall in love with them because you can't really know the entirety of a person, but you fall in love with a series of images that you associate with that person. I suddenly understood why I just felt this love for people who had made my favorite comics, because I was like, I have an image repertoire with you. I associate these images, which I love, and this experience of internalizing them, which I loved, with a person that I don't even know. And the really tricky part is that when I meet them, they have no image repertoire for me, so it's just sorry that I'm in love with you. But it's real. I mean, it's a real, really real thing. I think in terms of these image repertoires, I think the interesting thing, that's sort of for me and another person, but also between people, having something like a cartoon or a comic be a shared experience and actually slip into someone else's image repertoire with another person is also really interesting to me, because it becomes part of your love for that person and your love for yourself, which I think is as real and powerful as anything that could be in any image repertoire, and any part of anyone's love, which is why it's sort of really overwhelming, something like that this could be a part of somebody's experience. I think a lot about how when, if there's a certain point in your life when something is happening and something happens to be playing on the radio, and if it's a dissonant, if the song is trash, then it's such a shame, because you're oh, this really important thing is happening, and I hate this song, my life sucks. But if it's this really, something really beautiful, it becomes tied to this moment forever. So I would think about the show a little on the one hand, sort of, it could almost be anything, because it's going to be on in the background, it's going to be a part of someone's life just by being there. But if it's a beautiful song, if it's something that actually is meaningful, in the way that can be, that can really change sort of a moment in time if there's something playing in the background that is beautiful.
Most of my important moments were not beautiful things. They were just tacky songs, but I love them fiercely and protect them for exactly the reason you're describing.
Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, it could be anything, but I don't want it to be anything. I want it to be the thing that I want it to be. A beautiful thing, or an interesting thing.